What is good, world? You have tuned in to another episode of The Double Edge Factor. I am your host, Rob Manuel, and peace and blessings unto you. Before we get going, be sure to like, follow, and hit that subscribe button to never miss another episode. Or you can find The Double Edge Factor on linktree.com, where you will have access to all of our social media outlets. Today, we're going to dive into a topic that touches all of our lives in profound ways. The power of exclusion and rejection. These are forces that can shape our identities, our communities, and our personal journeys in ways both visible and invisible. There's a verse that captures the essence of what we're going to explore today. 1 Peter 2:7-8 says, "The stone that builders rejected has become the cornerstone." This powerful metaphor speaks on how something cast aside or rejected can ultimately become foundational, essential, even transformative. Let's start by acknowledging something a little different. Rejection and inclusion can be powerful, positive forces in our lives. Think about the last time you were faced with rejection. Maybe it was a job application, a creative project that you got turned down on, or even a relationship that didn't work out. In that moment, it felt like failure. But looking back, many of us can identify that those rejections as pivotal moments that redirected our paths towards greater opportunities. Steve Jobs was famously fired from Apple, the company that he founded, right? That exclusion pushed him to explore new ventures, including Pixar, before eventually returning to Apple with fresh vision and purpose. What seemed like career devastation became the crucible for his great innovations. Rejection can also serve as a powerful filter. Not every opportunity, relationship, or community is right for us. When we're excluded from spaces that don't align with our values and goals, we're free to find places where we truly belong. The natural selection process, though it can be painful sometimes, often leads us to environments where we can flourish. There's also a special kind of strength that comes with facing rejection. Resilience isn't built through constant acceptance. It's forged in the fire of being told no. Every rejection we overcome adds another layer of emotional armor. Think about the entrepreneur who hears no 50 times from 50 different investors before finding the one that finally says yes. He develops perseverance, and that is invaluable throughout his life. Exclusion also creates value through scarcity. Exclusive communities, selective programs, and curated experiences often maintain their quality precisely because they don't admit everybody. The college that rejects 90 to 95% of its applicants can maintain rigorous standards. The professional organization with strict membership criteria can foster deeper connections among those who share their demonstrated expertise. And we will be right back. Today's show is brought to you by Polished Custom Builders, where they specialize in building your dream into a reality through custom home building, renovations, and interior design. Check them out at polishedcustombuilders.com, where the most beautiful house in the world is the one that you build yourself. And we are back. Now, let's touch on the darker aspects of exclusion and rejection, because these forces can cause profound harm when misapplied. Throughout human history, exclusion based on race, gender, religion, and other immutable characteristics have caused immeasurable suffering. When rejection targets not what someone does, but who someone is, it becomes a tool of oppression rather than refinement. Social rejection triggers the same neural pathways as physical pain. Being ostracized from a community activates our brain's pain centers just as powerfully as breaking a bone. That's because humans have evolved as social creatures. Tribal exclusions back in the day once meant death. Our brains still process rejection as a survival threat. In our hyperconnected yet increasingly isolated world, social rejection can spiral into devastating consequences. Young people, they face persistent exclusion in school environments. The ones that have this show higher rates of depression, anxiety, and suicidal thoughts. The consequences extended beyond emotional health into academic performance, relationship formation, and long-term well-being. Now, organizations that practice unnecessary exclusion often suffer as well. Companies with homogeneous workforces miss out on diverse perspectives that drive innovation. Communities that reject outsiders become echo chambers, reinforcing existing beliefs without the healthy challenge of different viewpoints. There's also this insidious way that rejection can become internalized. When faced with persistent exclusion, people may begin to believe that they deserve this rejection. They internalize negativity and it becomes self-fulfilling as people stop trying to overcome barriers they believe are insurmountable. So, how do we find the balance in this? Returning to that biblical cornerstone that I talked about earlier, there's profound wisdom in recognizing that what gets rejected often contains unexpected value. That stone that the builders rejected might precisely be what's needed to complete the structure. This suggests that wisdom lies not in avoiding all exclusion or embracing all inclusion, but practicing discernment. Healthy boundaries represent a form of exclusion that protects rather than harms. When we say no to relationships, opportunities, or habits that drain us, we're making space for what nourishes us. This selective exclusion serves for our well-being. Meanwhile, cultivating communities that practice principled inclusion creates strength through diversity. Organizations that welcome different perspectives while maintaining shared values find balance between the chaos of total exclusion and the stagnation of rigid exclusion. For those experiencing rejection, there's power in asking, what might this rejection be making space for in my life? Sometimes the closed door forces us to find an open window, the path we wouldn't have chosen but needed to discover. And for those in positions to include or exclude others, there's responsibility in asking, am I rejecting based on valid criteria or unconscious bias? The gatekeepers who recognize the cornerstone of what others reject often build the most remarkable structures. The power of exclusion and rejection is neither inherently good nor inherently bad. It's a force we must learn to navigate through with wisdom. Like fire, it can warm your home or it can burn it down, depending on how it's applied. So remember that being rejected doesn't define your worth, and having the power to exclude others with profound responsibility. In our personal lives, in our communities, in our societies, we're constantly making choices about who and what to include or exclude. May we make those choices with awareness of their power, and may we, like biblical cornerstone, find that what's being rejected often contains unexpected gifts, waiting to be recognized and integrated into something beautiful. This is Rob Manuel with the Double Edge Factor, and it would mean the world to me if you would share this episode with just one person. And hey, let's be more than podcast friends. Hit that subscribe button to never miss another episode, or find the Double Edge Factor on linktree.com, where you can join that email list and have access to all of our social media outlets. I'll leave you with this, my friends. Be intentional with your words, thoughts, and actions, and always find a way to be a blessing to someone else today.